The pinging. It's always the damn pinging that starts it. My phone vibrates on the nightstand once, twice, 3 times. Each buzz a tiny hammer blow against my already frayed nerves. I know that sound. It's the sound of Marcus spending my money. Money I don't have. Money from the emergency credit card, the one I swore to him was only for true, dire situations. I suppose, in his mind, another piece of glittering trash for his latest conquest is a dire situation. I reach for my phone, the screens glow harsh in the pre-dawn gloom. My heart pounds a sick rhythm against my ribs. American Express alert, purchase at Bijou Deluxe, a $2,499.99. My breath hitches. He didn't. Not again. My feet hit the cold wood floor. The apartment feels still, too still. He's not back yet. Of course he's not. He's probably still with her, whoever she is this week. A bitter taste, sharp and metallic like old pennies, floods my mouth. I remember the lecture about financial responsibility he gave me just last week, his voice smooth and condescending. Maya, darling, we need to be a team. My ventures are our ventures. His ventures always seem to involve my bank account and someone else's bed. The scent hits me as I walk past the hall table, his cologne. That expensive, musky scent he favors, the one that used to make my stomach flip in a good way. Now it just smells like lies. It's clinging to a discarded shopping bag from Bijou Deluxe. And peeking out from the bag, a velvet box. My fingers, surprisingly steady, lift the lid. A diamond necklace. Or, more likely, diamond-looking. Still, expensive enough. For a moment, a tiny, pathetic flicker of hope ignites. Maybe this time it's for me. Then I see it, tucked beneath the necklace. A small, cream-colored card. My stomach plummets. I don't want to read it, but I have to. The words, in his familiar, looping handwriting, sear themselves onto my brain. To my enchanting nightingale, may this sparkle as brightly as your eyes. All my love, Emma. Nightingale, that's a new one. I've been kitten, sweetheart, baby doll. Never nightingale. The air rushes out of my lungs, leaving me hollow. This isn't just spending, this is a declaration. He's not even trying to hide it anymore. Rage, cold and sharp, slices through the numbness. My hand trembles, not with weakness, but with a burgeoning fury. I reach for my phone again, not to call him, not to scream. I open the camera, click dot. The receipt carelessly crumpled in the bag. Click. The necklace, click, the note. Each photo a small, sharp nail in the coffin of what we once had. This is my quiet power move. The first of many I don't yet know I'm capable of. Marcus drained my account again, just like every month before. But this time, something inside me snaps, a wire pulled too taut for too long. The sound of it is almost audible in the silent apartment. He saunters in an hour later, reeking of stale champagne and cheap perfume. Definitely not the expensive kind he buys. The scent of his betrayal is a physical assault. He's humming, a little off-key, and doesn't even notice the storm brewing in my eyes. Morning, kitten, he says, breezy, like he just stepped out for a paper. I hold up the velvet box, the note resting on top. My hand is steady now. Who's Nightingale, Marcus? The humming stops. His eyes, usually so quick to charm or deflect, flicker with something I haven't seen before. Annoyance? No, it's more than that. It's the look of a man inconvenienced. What are you talking about? He tries to brush past me, heading for the coffee pot. The aroma of our favorite dark roast, usually a comfort, now feels like another layer of deceit. This, I say, my voice dangerously calm. This necklace, and this note, it wasn't for me, was it? He finally looks at it, a practiced confusion spreading across his handsome features. Oh, that's an investment, Maya, for us. An investment. The word tastes like ash in my mouth. In who, Marcus? Because her name isn't Maya. My heart is a frantic bird beating against my ribs, but my voice, it's like ice. He sighs, running a hand through his perfectly tousled hair. It's a gesture I used to find endearing. Now it just looks rehearsed. You're being dramatic. It's for a client. Networking. You know how it is. I know you used my emergency credit card. I state, the words flat, devoid of the scream that's building in my chest. The one for hospital visits, for car repairs, not for Nightingale. He has the audacity to look wounded. I was going to pay it back. You know I'm good for it. It's just a temporary thing. This deal is huge, Maya. It'll set us up. The familiar script. I've heard it so many times. The next big deal, the sure thing, always just around the corner, and always funded by me. The cheap fabric of his excuses feels rough against my skin. Just like the last deal, and the one before that? I keep my gaze locked on his. The one that paid for your trip to Miami, was she an investment too? His face tightens. Don't be like this, Maya. Like what? Like someone who's tired of being a walking ATM? My voice rises just a fraction. I fight to keep it down. Control, that's the new game. I'm building our future. He explodes, his voice suddenly loud in the small kitchen. The sound bounces off the tiles, sharp and jarring. Everything I do is for us. Can't you see that? This constant questioning, this lack of trust, it's suffocating. Gaslighting, classic Marcus, turn it around, make it my fault. The old Maya would have crumbled, apologized even. The new Maya, the one born from the ashes of Nightingale's necklace, just stares. And remembers. I remember the careful way I photographed those receipts, his casual signature scrawled across them. Evidence. The word pops into my head, unbidden. So the client's name is Nightingale? I press, my tone deceptively soft. He scoffs. It's a nickname, a joke. You wouldn't understand the business world, Maya. It's complex. Try me. He waves a dismissive hand. I don't have time for this. I need to get some sleep. He turns to leave, expecting me to follow, to plead, to try and smooth things over like I always do. But I don't move. I just stand there, the velvet box still in my hand, the damning note burning a hole in my palm. The scent of his cologne, mixed with that other, cheaper perfume, fills the space between us. It's the stench of casual betrayal. He pauses at the bedroom door, looks back, a frown etching itself between his brows. He's surprised by my silence, by my stillness. Good. Let him be. The floorboards creak under his weight as he finally walks away. The silence he leaves behind is heavy, pregnant with unspoken truths and the glittering lie in my hand. My quiet power is building, a small, steady flame. He thinks this is just another argument. He has no idea this is the beginning of his end. The jewelry, I realize with a sickening lurch, wasn't a one-off. It was a pattern, a symptom of a much larger disease. And the love note? That was just the tip of the iceberg. He'd made his choice. Now I was about to make mine. The cliffhanger wasn't just the note. It was the dawning realization of how deep this betrayal truly ran. He hadn't just drained my account, he'd drained my soul. And I was finally ready to bill him for it. The confrontation about Nightingale simmers down into a tense, brittle silence. He retreats into a sulk, and I retreat into my own head, replaying every lie, every excuse, every time he made me feel small and foolish for doubting him. The faint, lingering scent of that other woman's perfume on his collar when he finally came to bed last night, a cheap, cloying floral, is a fresh torment. So who is she, Marcus? I ask the question again the next morning. My voice is quiet, but it cuts through the clatter of him making coffee, a sound that used to signal domestic bliss, now just another routine he performs before going out to betray me. He sighs, that put-upon sound he makes when he wants me to feel guilty. Are we back on this, Maya? I told you. It's a client. A client you buy expensive jewelry for? A client you write love notes to? He slams the coffee mug down on the granite countertop, the sound echoing the sudden, violent thumping of my heart. Enough! I don't have to explain myself to you. Yes, Marcus, I say, my voice trembling just a little. You do. When you're using my money, my trust, to fund your whatever this is. He laughs then. A cruel, dismissive sound that makes the hairs on my arms stand up. It's a chilling echo in our sun-filled kitchen. Your money? Don't be ridiculous. Everything you have is because of me, because of my connections, my ambition. Tears prick at my eyes, hot and shameful. The texture of them on my cheeks feels like acid. That's not true. I work, I save. Or at least I try to when you're not bleeding me dry. Oh, poor Maya, he sneers, his face twisting into an ugly mask I barely recognize. Still so naive. You think your little salary keeps this apartment and this lifestyle? Grow up. And then, the admission, spat out like venom. Yes, there's someone else, and yes, she's everything you're not. She's exciting, she's ambitious, she appreciates what I do for her. The words hit me like physical blows, each one a fresh wound. He's not even trying to be kind, not even feigning remorse. The casual cruelty of it steals my breath. My quiet power move, almost an instinct. My phone is in my hand, resting on the counter. I'd been scrolling through more of his charges. Without him noticing, my thumb slides, hits record. The small red dot is barely visible. For how long? I whisper, the fight draining out of me, replaced by a vast, aching emptiness. Months, he says, shrugging as if discussing the weather. And frankly, it's been the best few months of my life. He takes a sip of his coffee, his eyes cold over the rim of the mug. The aroma of the coffee, our favorite blend, now seems tainted, bitter. He's been using my money, the money I scraped and saved, to court her. Lavish dinners I couldn't afford, gifts I only dreamed of, trips I was never invited on. The sheer scale of the deception is dizzying. The screen of my phone reflects his smug face as he details just how much better she is, how much more she deserves the finer things, the things bought with my stolen future. I feel a tremor start in my hands, a deep, primal rage beginning to uncoil in the pit of my stomach. So, all those times you said you were working late? All those business trips? What do you think? He says, a smirk playing on his lips. She's not going to pay for herself, is she? The recording continues, capturing every damning word, every cruel inflection. My heart pounds, a frantic tattoo against my ribs, a counterpoint to the steady, almost conversational tone of his confession. He's dismantling our life piece by piece and doesn't even care enough to lie anymore. Then, the final twist of the knife. And don't think you're getting a cent, he snarls, his good mood vanishing as quickly as it appeared. This apartment, everything in it, it's all tied to my businesses. You try to fight me on this, Maya, and I'll leave you with nothing but the debt. All that credit card spending? That's on you, sweetheart. Your name, your responsibility. He leans closer, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. The faint, metallic scent of his earlier exertion, or perhaps just his fury, reaches me. You'll be buried in it. As if on cue, a crisp white envelope slides through the mail slot in the front door. I know what it is before I even pick it up. The harsh, official typeface, the stark red lettering, eviction notice, rent unpaid for 2 months. His spending, my impending homelessness. The paper feels rough and final in my trembling hand. He just watches me, a glint of triumph in his eyes. The ticking clock of my life just got a whole lot louder. He thinks he's won. He thinks I'm broken. He's about to find out just how wrong he is. The recording on my phone feels like a weapon, heavy and potent. The rain is a solid sheet, mirroring the turmoil inside me. I don't remember grabbing my keys, don't remember slamming the apartment door behind me, the sound of his mocking laughter still ringing in my ears. All I know is the desperate need to escape, to breathe air that isn't thick with his lies and the cloying scent of his infidelity. My feet pound the slick pavement, each step a jarring impact, but I barely feel it. The eviction notice is crumpled in my fist, the paper absorbing the cold rain, becoming a soggy testament to my ruin. He threatened to leave me with all the debt, all the debt. The words echo in my mind, a cruel counterpoint to the rhythmic swish of tires on wet asphalt. How could I have been so blind, so stupid? For years, he's been siphoning off my life, my savings, my future, and I let him. I even defended him to my sister, Sarah, who always saw through his charming facade. The taste of shame, bitter and metallic, mixes with the rainwater on my lips. I need to call Sarah. I need to tell her everything, to hear a friendly voice in this storm of betrayal. I fumble for my phone, my fingers numb with cold and stress. The screen is blurred by raindrops, but I manage to find her contact. As it rings, I step off the curb, my eyes scanning for a taxi, an escape, anything. A sudden glare of headlights, impossibly bright, blinds me. A horn blares, a sound swallowed by the roar of the downpour. Time stretches, warps. I see the horrified face of the driver, mouth agape in a silent scream. The screech of tires is a tearing sound ripping through the fabric of the night, then impact. A supernova of pain explodes behind my eyes. I'm flying, tumbling, the world a chaotic blur of rain and streetlights. The cold, rough texture of the pavement rushes up to meet me. There's a wetness spreading across my cheek, warm and sticky. Blood. My blood. The metallic taste from earlier, stronger now, fills my mouth. My phone, miraculously, is still clutched in my hand. Sarah's concerned voice, tiny and distant. Maya? Maya, what's wrong? I can hear sirens. Sirens. Yes, I can hear them too. A mournful wail growing fainter, not closer. Odd. With a clarity that seems impossible given the circumstances, I know what I have to do. My quiet power move, my last. My thumb, clumsy and slick with rain and blood, taps out a message. Marcus. Affair. Stole everything. Eviction. Phone recording. Love you. Send. The screen cracks as the phone slips from my grasp, skittering across the wet concrete. Darkness crowds the edges of my vision. The cold is seeping into my bones, a profound, final chill. The rain on my face feels like icy tears. My chest aches, a deep, tearing pain with every shallow breath. The distant buzz of my fallen phone is the last thing I register, each vibration a tiny, fading heartbeat. Then, nothing. Blackness. Utter and complete. But the buzzing. The buzzing seems to continue, a faint, phantom echo in the void. A jolt, like a defibrillator to the soul. I gasp, a ragged, desperate intake of air. My eyes fly open. The scent hits me first. Rich, dark roast coffee, my favorite blend. Familiar, comforting, too comforting. I'm lying in bed, my bed, in my old apartment. The one Marcus and I shared, before. Sunlight, warm and golden, streams through the gap in the curtains, painting stripes across the worn duvet. My head is clear, no pain, no lingering taste of blood or rain. I sit bolt upright, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. This isn't possible. I was hit. I remember the cold pavement, the fading sirens. Then I hear it. The sound of the shower running in the ensuite bathroom. His shower. Marcus. A wave of nausea, so potent it nearly buckles me, washes over. He's here. But he can't be. My hands are trembling violently as I reach for my phone on the nightstand. It's there, whole, uncracked. My old model, the one I had before. Before. The screen lights up, the date, April 17th. My breath catches in my throat. April 17th, that's 6 months ago. 6 months before the eviction notice, 6 months before Nightingale, 6 months before the accident. The texture of the cool glass screen beneath my fingertips feels impossibly real. A dream? A hallucination? But the memories, they're so vivid, so sharp. The scent of his cologne mixed with cheap perfume, the cruel curve of his lips as he confessed, the rough paper of the eviction notice, the blinding headlights, the taste of my own blood, these aren't dream fragments. They're branded onto my soul. My quiet power move, born of sheer, terrified instinct. I tap open my banking app. My savings account, full. My checking, healthy. The emergency credit card, 0 balance. A hysterical laugh bubbles up, threatening to spill over. It's real. I'm back. Somehow, impossibly, I'm back. The shower stops. The bathroom door creaks open. My breath freezes in my lungs. He'll walk out. He'll be him. The Marcus from before I knew the full extent of his betrayal. The charming, loving Marcus I thought I knew. He emerges, a towel slung low on his hips, water droplets clinging to his hair, plastering it to his forehead. He's smiling. that lazy, devastating smile that used to make my knees weak. The scent of his soap, clean and fresh, fills the air, a stark contrast to the memory of stale champagne and betrayal. "Morning, kitten," he says, his voice warm, intimate. He leans down to kiss me and I flinch, a visceral reaction I can't control. His smile falters, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. "You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I am a ghost, I think, or I was. Just a bad dream. I manage, my voice raspy. The memories of the future, of my future, his betrayal, my death, flood back with sickening clarity. The pain, the humiliation, the rage, it's all there, fresh and raw. But this time, there's something else too. A cold, hard knot of determination. I have 6 months. 6 months to change everything. 6 months to make him pay. The game isn't over, it's just been reset. And this time, I know all the moves. The ticking clock isn't a threat anymore, it's a countdown. My countdown. The scratch of my pen against the cheap notebook paper is a strangely satisfying sound in the quiet of my lunch break. I'm hunched over a small table at the back of a bustling cafe, the aroma of roasted coffee beans and sugary pastries, a stark, comforting contrast to the acrid taste of remembered betrayal that still lingers on my tongue. My first-born week has been a tightrope walk of feigned normalcy with Marcus, while every nerve screams with the knowledge of what's to come. I'm mapping it out, his predictable patterns of spending, his fabricated business trips, the names of the restaurants he'll take her to. The memories are a curse and a blessing, a painful roadmap to his deceit. Each remembered detail, the exact date he'll borrow a large sum for a can't-miss investment, the week he'll conveniently lose his wallet and need my cards, is a weapon. My quiet power move for this new reality is meticulous documentation, even before the events repeat. The sound of my own typing late into the night, after Marcus is asleep, has become my secret rebellion, compiling a digital dossier of his future crimes. "You seem different," Marcus commented last night. His brow furrowed as he watched me methodically pay bills online, bills I now know he'll drain the funds for in a few short months. The scent of his suspicion, faint but there, pricked at my senses. "Just trying to be more organized," I'd replied, my voice breezy, even as my heart hammered. The texture of the keyboard under my fingers felt solid, a connection to this second chance. "Good," he'd said, though his eyes lingered on me a moment too long. "Maybe some of my business sense is finally rubbing off on you." He chuckled, self-congratulatory. I smiled, a tight, false thing. "Oh, you have no idea what's rubbing off on me, Marcus. My research isn't just memory. I spend hours in the library, the scent of old paper and dust a strangely calming backdrop to my grim task. I'm devouring information on financial law, asset protection, the legal definitions of fraud and embezzlement. The librarian, a kind woman with silver hair and knowing eyes, probably thinks I'm a law student. If only she knew. The quiet clicks of my phone's camera capture relevant statutes, definitions, precedents. My photo gallery is no longer just for snapshots, it's an arsenal. One evening, I'm huddled on the sofa, laptop balanced on my knees, deep in an article about freezing joint assets. Marcus walks in unexpectedly. "Still at it, kitten?" he asks, peering over my shoulder. My heart leaps into my throat. I slam the laptop shut a little too quickly. The sharp snap of the plastic sounds unnaturally loud in the sudden silence. "Just work stuff," I stammer, my cheeks flushing. "A boring report." The taste of panic, metallic and sharp, floods my mouth. He raises an eyebrow, a smirk playing on his lips. "Right, don't strain that pretty little head of yours too much." He ruffles my hair, a condescendingly affectionate gesture that makes my skin crawl. He doesn't press, wandering off to the kitchen, probably in search of a beer. I let out a shaky breath. Too close? That was way too close. The faint, lingering scent of his shampoo as he leaned over me makes me feel queasy. The most crucial step is consulting a professional. I find a financial advisor, a woman named Miss Evans, highly recommended for her discretion and expertise in delicate marital financial situations. Our first meeting is in a sterile, anonymous office building. The scent of industrial cleaner and old coffee does little to soothe my nerves. "My husband," I begin, my voice carefully neutral, is not good with money. I'm worried about protecting my own assets, things I had before we were married, my inheritance. I can't tell her the truth, of course. She'd think I was insane. But I can give her a version of it. Miss Evans listens, her expression unreadable, the only sound the soft scratching of her pen on a legal pad. The texture of the worn leather armchair beneath me is surprisingly comforting. She asks pointed questions, her gaze sharp. By the end of the hour, we have a plan. New accounts in my name only. Moving my direct deposit. Setting up alerts for any unusual activity on the joint accounts before I slowly, carefully, legally disentangle myself. Her quiet competence is a balm to my frayed nerves. This is my real quiet power move. This is strategy. I also invest in a couple of small, easily concealable recording devices and hidden cameras. Setting them up in our apartment feels clandestine, illicit, but necessary. The tiny click as one camera nestles into a bookshelf disguised as a decorative object is the sound of my insurance policy. I need irrefutable proof this time. Proof that will stand up. Proof that Sarah can use if things go wrong again. The days tick by, each one a step closer to the future I'm desperately trying to rewrite. Marcus remains oblivious, cocooned in his arrogance. He's charming, attentive even, in the way he always is before a big financial ask. I play my part, the dutiful, slightly clueless girlfriend. But inside, I'm a coiled spring. Then, the first test. It's a rainy Tuesday morning, exactly as I remember. We're late. I'm rushing to find my umbrella, the scent of damp wool, and my own anxious sweat filling our small hallway. "Damn it, Maya, where's your purse?" Marcus calls, his voice tight with impatience. "I need some cash for a taxi. Left my wallet upstairs." My breath catches. This is it. This is how it started last time. The first significant borrowing that spiraled. He reaches for my handbag slung over the newel post. His fingers brush the worn leather. My heart is in my throat. My carefully laid plans, my secret accounts, my entire strategy. It all hinges on this moment. The cliffhanger isn't a dramatic reveal. It's the excruciating, silent tension of watching him reach, knowing what comes next, and praying my preparations are enough. Will the card be declined? Will the trap I've laid so meticulously finally spring? His fingers fumble with the clasp of my purse. The small, metallic click as it opens sounds like a gunshot in the tense silence of our hallway. My breath is lodged somewhere in my chest, tight and painful. He rummages inside, his usual impatient grunts filling the air. I can almost smell his frustration, a familiar acrid scent. "Where the hell do you keep your cards, Maya?" he mutters, then, got it. He pulls out my emergency American Express. The silver gleams mockingly under the dim hallway light. My emergency card. The one he's about to try and bleed dry for a client meeting that I know is actually a champagne breakfast with Nightingale. I watch, my expression carefully neutral, as he heads out the front door, already pulling out his phone, presumably to call his preferred black car service, the one he always charges to me. The slam of the door echoes. I count to 60, then my phone buzzes, not with a purchase alert. This time, it's a text from him. "Card declined. WTF, Maya, did you forget to pay the bill again? Sort it. Urgent." A slow smile spreads across my face. The taste of triumph, sweet and heady, fills my mouth. Declined. The first domino. I'd called American Express 2 days ago, reported the card potentially compromised, and requested a temporary freeze. I'd also, per MS, Evans's advice, lowered the credit limit on our joint checking overdraft to almost nothing. My main salary was already being rerouted to my new private account. He has no idea. The sound of my own calm breathing is a stark contrast to the frantic energy I feel thrumming just beneath my skin. His call comes 5 minutes later. I let it ring 3 times before answering, schooling my features into a mask of sleepy confusion. "Hey," I say, injecting a yawn into my voice. "What's up?" "What's up?" He practically screeches into the phone. I can hear the blare of traffic in the background. He's stranded. Good. "My card was declined, Maya. Your Amex. At the bloody coffee shop, in front of everyone. What the hell is going on?" The scent of his panic-induced sweat, I can almost imagine it, sharp and unpleasant, even over the phone line. Declined? I feigned surprise. That's weird. I just paid it. Maybe it's a system glitch? Call the bank? I did call the bank, he sputters. They said there's a freeze on it. Did you do that? A freeze? Why would I do that? I make my voice sound wounded. Maybe someone tried to use it fraudulently? You know, I got that email about data breaches last week. I let the sentence hang. Let him stew in his own paranoid assumptions. He groans in frustration. This is a disaster. I have a critical meeting, Maya. I needed that card. I can hear the edge of desperation in his voice now, the cracking foundation of his usual arrogance. His mistress, waiting for her lavish breakfast, is probably tapping her perfectly manicured nails impatiently. The image is delicious. My quiet power move is in full swing. I'm playing dumb, but every word, every feigned note of concern is a calculated step. And my phone, nestled innocently on my lap, is recording his entire meltdown. Evidence, Marcus. It's all about the evidence. Well, what about our joint account? I suggest innocently. Use that debit card. A pause, then a strangled sound. There's hardly anything in it. Not enough for this meeting. Oh, I say, injecting just the right amount of vague sympathy. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Marcus. Maybe you'll have to reschedule. The string of curses he unleashes would make a sailor blush. I listen patiently, the recording capturing it all. When he finally winds down, his voice is thin, reedy. You need to fix this, Maya, now. I'll call Amex later when I have a moment, I say soothingly, but I'm swamped at work today. You'll just have to manage. I hang up before he can argue further. The silence in my apartment is blissful. I take a slow, deep breath. The air tastes clean, fresh, like the first day of spring after a long, hard winter. Later that day, I happen to be sorting through some old financial statements. I make copies of the ones showing his prolific, unauthorized use of my Amex from the previous 6 months, the ones from my past life. I place them in a neat, unmarked envelope. When he finally trudges home that evening, defeated and furious, reeking of cheap diner coffee instead of his usual artisanal brew, I hand it to him. Found these, I say, my expression bland. Thought you might want them for your records. Since you're so meticulous about our finances. He snatches the envelope, his eyes narrowing. He rips it open. The color drains from his face as he scans the statements. His jaw works, but no sound comes out. He knows. He knows that I know. The carefully constructed facade of his financial prowess is crumbling. Where did you get these? He finally chokes out. They come in the mail, Marcus, I say sweetly. Remember? He stares at me, a new kind of fear dawning in his eyes. It's not the fear of a declined card anymore. It's the fear of exposure. This is an invasion of my privacy. He blusters, but the conviction is gone. Our privacy, you mean? I counter, my voice still soft. Since it's my card, after all. He crumples the statements in his fist. You think you're so clever, don't you? You'll regret this, Maya. I'll sue you for financial mismanagement. I almost laugh. He's threatening legal action. Not knowing I'm already 3 chess moves ahead, the board reset in my favor. The scent of his desperation is intoxicating. The cliffhanger isn't his empty threat. It's the dawning realization in his eyes that the game has changed, and I'm no longer a pawn. He has no idea how deep my preparations run, or how thoroughly I intend to dismantle his world, piece by fraudulent piece. The click of my camera shutter is barely audible over the clatter of expensive cutlery and low hum of conversation at Le Rêve, one of the city's most exclusive restaurants. It's a place Marcus always claimed was too stuffy for us, yet here he is, 2 weeks after card declined gate, whining and dining a striking redhead I instinctively know is Nightingale Prime. My vantage point from a shadowed alcove near the service entrance isn't glamorous, but it's effective. The faint, mingled scents of truffle oil and her expensive, overly sweet perfume drift towards me, a nauseating combination. Following him has become a grimly satisfying routine. He's been forced to use cash or his own rapidly dwindling credit since I haven't had a chance to sort out the Amex, and our joint account remains stubbornly low. It's amazing how quickly his lavish lifestyle deflates without my involuntary contributions. He's jumpier now, constantly checking his phone, his brow perpetually furrowed. The swagger is still there, but it's brittle, like a thin veneer over rising panic. My surveillance isn't just about tracking his spending, it's about understanding his new strategies. He's become more cautious, meeting in less obvious places initially, but his ego always wins. He can't resist showing off, even with borrowed money. The sound of my steady breathing, a technique I've practiced to calm my nerves, is a constant in these stakeouts. I'm a ghost in his periphery, documenting his every move. Each photo, each snippet of recorded conversation, thanks to a directional microphone app, goes into the leather portfolio Miss Evans advised me to keep. The smooth, cool texture of the leather under my fingers as I file away another receipt, paid in cash, he made sure to show the waiter, is a small comfort. My quiet power move this time is more insidious. I'd accidentally bumped into Nightingale, whose real name is Candace, I discovered through some light social media stalking, at a ridiculously overpriced salon she frequents. Feigning admiration for her fabulous handbag, a designer knockoff, I noted with satisfaction. I struck up a conversation. She's vain, talkative, and surprisingly insecure. Within 20 minutes, I'd learned that Marcus has been feeding her a line about being a venture capitalist on the cusp of a major breakthrough. He's promised her a penthouse, a trip to Monaco, a life of effortless luxury. The poor girl is smitten. And her best friend, a chatty manicurist named Tiffany, is even more forthcoming after a chance encounter and a couple of strategically bought coffees. He's always so vague about his actual office, you know? Tiffany confided, her voice a conspiratorial whisper, the scent of nail polish remover sharp between us. And Candace said he got really weird when she asked to see his apartment, said it was undergoing renovations and he was staying at a corporate suite. My apartment, undergoing renovations by his lies. The audacity is breathtaking. Through Tiffany, I discover Marcus has been grossly exaggerating his income, hinting at offshore accounts and family money that simply doesn't exist. He's spinning a web of lies so complex it's a wonder he can keep it straight. Each piece of intel from Tiffany, delivered with a wide-eyed innocence that I almost feel guilty exploiting, is another nail in his coffin. The taste of his impending downfall is sharp and satisfying on my tongue. The days blur into a routine of work, feigned domesticity with an increasingly irritable Marcus, and my secret life as a financial detective. He tries to charm me again, sensing my withdrawal. There are flowers, cheap ones, from the supermarket and clumsy attempts at affection. The scent of wilted petals and his insincere apologies makes my stomach churn. I play along, biding my time, the evidence portfolio growing heavier with each passing day. One rainy afternoon, I'm reviewing the photos from Le Rêve, zooming in on the bill he so flamboyantly paid. Something nags at me. The restaurant's logo. It's familiar, but not from my memories of his affair with Candace. I rack my brain. The rhythmic drumming of rain against my office window, a counterpoint to my racing thoughts. Then it hits me. A different memory from further back in my previous life. A throwaway comment he'd made about a potential investment opportunity with a new restaurant chain. He'd needed a small bridging loan from me, of course, which he never repaid. A cold dread, mixed with a surge of adrenaline, courses through me. He's not just cheating on me and Candace. He's not just a small-time grifter living off my credit. He's planning something bigger, something from my past life that I dismissed as another of his failed schemes. But now, armed with the knowledge of his ruthlessness, his capacity for grand deception, I realize this could be far more dangerous than I ever imagined. The cliffhanger is no longer just about exposing his affairs. It's about uncovering a potentially larger financial con, one that might have been the real reason for his desperation, the real reason he couldn't afford for me to dig too deep. And I, in my reborn quest for vengeance, might have stumbled into something far more complex and perilous. The faint, musty scent of the old restaurant receipts I'd kept from that bridging loan era suddenly feels like a clue to a much larger crime. The rhythmic tap-tap-tap of Marcus frantically searching through the desk drawers in our study is the new soundtrack to my evenings. He's looking for financial documents, bank statements, anything that might explain why his carefully constructed house of cards is starting to wobble. The acrid smell of his stress sweat is a permanent fixture in the room now, a cloying testament to his mounting panic. He's like a cornered animal, jumpy and unpredictable. Maya, he barks, his voice tight with strain. He holds up a letter from a credit card company, one of his own, for a change. This account is over its limit, and they've reduced the limit. How is that possible? I look up from the book I'm pretending to read, my expression one of mild, sympathetic confusion. Oh dear, are you sure? Maybe you should call them. Inside, I'm smiling. Miss Evans had explained that when one creditor flags risky behavior, others often follow suit, tightening their lending. His profligate spending, even with his own cards, was bound to catch up with him eventually. My subtle inquiries about his creditworthiness to a fictional landlord reference service might have also nudged things along. I did call them, he snaps. They were incredibly unhelpful. Blamed it on market conditions and internal risk assessment. He throws the letter down, the flimsy paper fluttering to the floor. The texture of my calm, measured breathing is a stark contrast to his ragged gasps. That's strange, I murmur. Are you having technical difficulties again? I inject a note of innocent concern, echoing his earlier dismissals of my financial woes. His eyes narrow. What do you know about this, Maya? Me? I widen my eyes. Marcus, darling, you know I don't understand these complicated financial things. That's your department, remember? The sweetness in my voice is laced with an arsenic a blind man could taste, but he's too consumed by his own panic to notice. My phone vibrates silently in my pocket with a text message. He's been making inquiries about short-term, high-interest loans, using falsified income statements, photos attached. It's from Mr. Harrison, the discreet private investigator Miss Evans recommended. Worth every penny. The digital clicks of Harrison's emailed evidence are more satisfying than any shopping spree. Marcus is pacing now, running his hands through his hair, his composure visibly crumbling. It's like someone is deliberately trying to ruin me. Who would do that, Marcus? I ask, my voice dripping with faux sympathy. You're such an honest, hard-working man. The irony is a delicious, sharp taste on my tongue. The next day, my quiet power move arrives via registered mail. He's served with official-looking papers, not from me, not yet. These are from a concerned third-party financial crimes investigator, a shell entity Miss Evans helped me set up, flagging his suspicious financial activities and requesting a formal review. It's not legally binding in itself, but it's designed to spook him, to make him think a wider net is closing in. The crisp, official-looking paper, the dense legal jargon, it's all designed to intimidate. He stares at the documents, his face turning a pasty white. The scent of his fear is almost palpable. What is this? Financial fraud investigation? This is insane. It's a mistake. Oh my goodness, Marcus. I rush to his side, feigning horror. This looks serious. Are you in some kind of trouble? He flinches away from my touch. No, of course not. It's a competitor trying to smear me. But his voice lacks conviction. He knows he's been cutting corners, falsifying documents, playing fast and loose for years. He just never expected to get caught. The news that his own credit score has plummeted, a direct result of his defaulted payments and over-leveraged accounts from before my intervention, is the final straw. He'd assumed he could always talk his way out, charm his way through. He never counted on his past actually having consequences. The carefully constructed illusion of Marcus the successful venture capitalist is shattering, and he's terrified. He spends the next few days frantically calling old contacts, trying to secure funds, trying to understand who's targeting him. Each call is a dead end. His network, built on charm and empty promises, is proving to be as substantial as smoke. Then, he does something I didn't anticipate. Not exactly. He shows up at my workplace. I see him from my office window, pacing on the sidewalk, his usual immaculate attire looking rumpled, his hair uncharacteristically messy. He looks desperate and dangerous. The receptionist calls, her voice hushed. Maya, there's a Mr. Marcus Thorne here to see you. He seems rather agitated. My heart gives a lurch, not of fear, but of grim anticipation. The final act is about to begin. The scent of the cheap roses he'd brought me a week ago, now decaying in the bin beside my desk, seems like a fitting overture. He's cornered, and cornered animals are the most dangerous. The cliffhanger is his unexpected, menacing presence, a wild card in my carefully orchestrated game. He's off script, and that makes him a threat I need to neutralize quickly. The echo of Marcus's expensive Italian loafers on the polished marble floor of the deserted office lobby is unnervingly loud. It's after hours. I'd arranged to stay late to finish a report, ensuring most of my colleagues were gone. Mr. Harrison, my private investigator, a reassuringly burly man with watchful eyes, is discreetly positioned in the security office down the hall, ready to intervene if needed. My own heartbeat is a steady, calm drum against my ribs, a stark contrast to the frantic rhythm I imagine is pounding in Marcus's chest. He spots me by the elevator bank and strides over, his face a mask of fury and desperation. Maya, we need to talk, now. The scent of stale coffee and nervous sweat clings to him. Marcus, I say, my voice even, cool. What a surprise. I thought you'd be busy with your investments. Cut the crap, Maya, he snarls, his voice raw. I know you're behind this. The frozen accounts, the credit checks, this bogus investigation, you're trying to ruin me. Ruin you? I raise an eyebrow. Or am I simply holding you accountable for your own actions? Rain streaks down the tall lobby windows, mirroring the storm brewing between us. The sound is a muted drumming, a fitting soundtrack for our final confrontation. You think this is some kind of game? He hisses, stepping closer. I can see the frantic tick in his jaw, the wildness in his eyes. It stopped being a game, Marcus, I say, my voice hardening. When you decided to use my life, my money, and my trust as your personal piggy bank. When you decided to build your fantasy life on my future. I made you who you are, he shouts, spittle flying from his lips. You were nothing before me. Was I? I counter, a small, sad smile playing on my lips. Or was I just someone foolish enough to believe your lies? I reach into my briefcase, the smooth, cool leather of familiar comfort. I pull out the portfolio. Because I have a slightly different version of events, Marcus, and unlike yours, mine comes with proof. The rustle of legal documents as I spread them out on the polished marble ledge of a nearby planter is the only sound for a moment, save for the incessant rain. Bank statements. Credit card bills highlighted with his extravagant, unauthorized purchases. Photographs of him with Candace, with two other women I'd since identified from his business trips. Audio transcripts from his charming confessions. The evidence of his systematic financial abuse and infidelity is damning, overwhelming. This, he chokes, his face ashen as he stares at the mountain of evidence. This is, you've been spying on me? Gathering facts, Marcus. I correct him gently. There's a difference. My quiet power move, the culmination of 6 months of meticulous planning and painful memory, is laid bare. I know about Candace. I know about Tiffany from the salon, who you also conveniently borrowed money from. I know about the falsified loan applications, the shell companies you were trying to set up with that restaurant investment, the one you used my emergency fund for 2 years ago and never paid back. He stumbles back, his bravado completely gone, replaced by a raw, gaping disbelief. He looks like a man who's seen a ghost, and in a way, he has. The ghost of the naive Maya he thought he could exploit forever. But how? He whispers, his voice barely audible. You'd be surprised what a woman can do when she's been pushed too far, I say, my voice devoid of malice. Just a flat statement of fact. When she realizes she's been living a lie with a con man. Then, the final blow. I slide another document across the marble. And this, Marcus, is the bill. For everything you stole. Every fraudulent charge. Every loan. Every cent you siphoned from my accounts to fund your pathetic charade, with interest, of course. He stares at the figure at the bottom of the page. The sum is staggering. His face crumples. It's not the face of a master manipulator anymore. It's the face of a desperate, trapped boy. He looks up at me, his eyes wild with a dawning, terrifying understanding. This isn't just about money anymore. This is about his freedom. You can't do this, he snarls, a last desperate attempt at intimidation. I'll tell them you're crazy, that you faked all of this. With what evidence, Marcus? I asked calmly. Your charm? Your good looks? I don't think those will hold up in court against actual bank records and sworn affidavits. He takes a step towards me, his hands clenching. You bitch! You ruined me! Just as he lunges, the lobby doors swish open. Mr. Harrison and two uniformed security guards step through. Marcus freezes, his lunge aborting midair. The fight drains out of him, replaced by a sullen, defeated slump. Is there a problem here, Miss Hayes? Mr. Harrison asks, his voice calm but firm. No problem at all, Mr. Harrison, I reply, my voice steady. Mr. Thorne was just leaving. As the guards escort a now limp Marcus towards the exit, he turns, his eyes burning into mine with a venom that chills me despite my victory. You'll pay for this, Maya, he hisses, his voice low and menacing. Remember that accident you had? Things like that, they can happen again. My blood runs cold. He knows, or he's guessing. But the specific mention of the accident, the one that killed me, the one that sent me back here, it's a terrifying, unexpected cliffhanger. He's not just a con man, he's capable of something far darker, and he's just threatened my life again. The scent of the rain outside suddenly feels ominous, heavy with unspoken menace. The satisfying sound of handcuffs clicking shut around Marcus's wrists is sweeter than any music I've ever heard. Mr. Harrison had immediately called the police after Marcus's thinly veiled threat about my accident. His menacing words, coupled with the mountain of financial evidence I'd already compiled and Harrison's own report on Marcus's recent frantic attempts to secure illegal loans, were enough for them to take him seriously. The threat wasn't just hot air, it was a credible danger, and they weren't taking any chances. Standing in the brightly lit police station, the scent of stale coffee and institutional disinfectant sharp in my nostrils, I sign my name on the final page of my official statement. The pen feels firm and steady in my hand, a stark contrast to the trembling I'd felt just 6 months ago in that other life. My signature isn't just a legal formality. It's an act of liberation. Each curve and line, a definitive severing of ties with the man who had tried to destroy me. This is my ultimate quiet power move, using the system he thought he could manipulate to bring about his downfall. A few weeks later, I walk out of the courthouse, the midday sun warm on my face. The air smells fresh, clean, tinged with the faint, sweet scent of blooming jasmine from a nearby park. Marcus, looking pale and diminished in his ill-fitting courtroom suit, had pleaded guilty to several counts of fraud and embezzlement. The evidence against him was irrefutable. His threat against me had also led to a restraining order, a thick document whose legal paper felt like a shield in my hands. His assets, or what little he genuinely owned, were being liquidated. A significant portion, after settling his legitimate debts, was mandated by the court to repay me, and to my surprise, other smaller creditors he'd swindled along the way, including Tiffany, the manicurist. Candace, Nightingale Prime, had wisely disappeared the moment the financial scandal hit the news, leaving Marcus to face the music alone. The sound of my heels clicks confidently on the marble courthouse steps. It's the sound of freedom, of a future reclaimed. I'd instructed Miss Evans to donate a substantial portion of the recovered funds to a charity supporting survivors of financial abuse. It felt right. It wasn't about the money, not anymore. It was about the justice, about ensuring that his actions had real, lasting consequences, and perhaps helping someone else avoid the nightmare I'd lived through twice. My new life is beginning. I've moved into a small, sunny apartment in a different part of the city. It's modest, but it's mine. Every piece of furniture, every book on the shelves, paid for with money I earned. Money that is solely, unequivocally mine. The taste of my morning coffee, brewed just the way I like it, in a kitchen that doesn't echo with his lies, is a daily reminder of my independence. That evening, I perform one last ritual. In the small, private balcony of my new home, under a sky bruised with the colors of sunset, I build a small fire in a metal basin. One by one, I feed the flames, the crumpled receipts from Bijou Deluxe, the restaurant bills from his trysts, the copies of the love notes to his nightingales. The paper blackens, curls, then turns to ash, the smoke carrying away the last vestiges of his betrayal. The scent of burning paper is surprisingly cleansing. The final triumph isn't his imprisonment or the recovery of the money. It's this: The knowledge that I faced the darkest parts of my past, a past that literally tried to kill me, and I emerged stronger, wiser, and finally, truly free. The last embers glow, then fade, just like his memory. 1 year later, the aroma of freshly baked croissants and strong Italian espresso, my signature blend fills the daily grind, my bustling little coffee shop. It's a dream I'd once shared with Marcus, a dream he'd scoffed at as small time, but a dream I've built with my own hands, my own grit, and the last of my reclaimed funds. The sound of genuine laughter from a nearby table, where a group of women are animatedly discussing a book, brings a smile to my face. These are my regulars, my friends. Some of them women I've quietly mentored, sharing advice on navigating financial independence, on recognizing the red flags I once ignored. My quiet power now isn't about secret recordings or meticulous revenge plots. It's in the steady clink of ceramic mugs, the hiss of the espresso machine, the warm, inviting atmosphere I've cultivated. It's in the knowing smiles I share with other women who have found their footing after a fall. The texture of the worn wooden counter under my palms feels real, earned. Marcus is still in prison. His appeals were denied. His mistress, Candace, I heard, moved on to another unsuspecting benefactor almost immediately. He's a footnote in my story, a cautionary tale. Sometimes late at night, when the shop is quiet and I'm cashing up, I catch my reflection in the darkened window. The woman looking back is different. There are still faint shadows of the past in her eyes, but they're overshadowed by a quiet strength, a hard-won peace. The betrayal didn't break me. It liberated me. It forced me to find a strength I never knew I possessed, to rewrite a future I thought was stolen. I pick up my purse, ready to head home. Inside, my wallet. And in it, a single, pristine credit card engraved with one name, mine, Maya Hayes. The taste of freedom is the sweetest flavor of all.